Hey everybody, welcome to our team call and Happy New Year. So excited that you guys are here as we kick off 2026 together. I am Abby Taylor, if you don't know me, and I'm really looking forward to you guys hearing from two amazing women from my team tonight. They're both from Appleton, Wisconsin, and what's really special is that they actually know each other before Plexus through a church connection, which makes this even more fun to celebrate. So Sam is my level one, Samantha Hoffer, and Stephanie Streck is Sam's level one, which makes her my level two. And over the last 3 to 6 months, these women have done some truly incredible things. Together, they have ranked gold, senior gold, and ruby in back-to-back rank ups. They both earned the senior gold fly-in. They both earned icon. They both earned the Cancun, Mexico trip. And last but not least, they both completely swept the contest. So we got some real amazing women here. And honestly, it's phenomenal. And honestly, it's just a glimpse of what is possible here when you have vision, focus, consistency, and belief, and when all those pieces come together. So, what I love about celebrating them is it's not just about what they've achieved, but really in who they are becoming as leaders and the impact that they are having and how they're doing this in real life seasons. So, I'd love for you guys to hear from them tonight. We're going to start with Sam. Sam and I actually were total strangers when we connected about 5 years ago. She was a true cold market connection, which makes her story even more meaningful. But what I appreciate about her most is her loyalty, her heart, her grit, and her willingness to stay in the process even when it was not fast or easy. So, Sam, will you go ahead and share a little bit more about you and your journey and what it's looked like?
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Samantha, and I'm really excited to be here with you all tonight. Um, First, a little bit about my family, since they're a big part of who I am. My husband, his name is Craig, and together we have 4 kids. We are a blended family. My oldest 2 kids are my stepkids. Riley, she's 20. Brady, he's 19. I have a son, Max, or Maxwell. He's from a previous relationship, and one of like my most proud things about him is actually that my husband adopted Max when he was 4, almost 5 years old. And then our youngest is Bentley, who's 10, and he is one who keeps us on our toes. He's our bookend. We also have 2 dogs. Their names are Hank and Dozer, and so they kind of just complete the chaos of our house. My husband is a police officer, and I work as a probation agent. And on top of all of that, we actually have a small business with my husband and we are private investigators. So we've been doing that for a few years. So life is definitely full and sometimes pretty loud when all of us are all together. And when we're not running around for kids' activities or sports, we are really involved at our church. So we spend a lot of time there. And we like to travel, go on our boat, and just hang out with our friends when we have time. And the reason why I'm here and the reason for Plexus goes back to pretty much, I would say, high school, if not even a little bit before that. I struggled with horrible anxiety. I was prescribed medication starting in high school, and I would take it for a while, and I would get off of it because I didn't like how I felt. I didn't always feel like it was working, so it was like this yo-yo thing going on. And I really just didn't like how the side effects made me feel. As I got older, things got worse. Once I started having kids, it became completely unmanageable. And early on in our marriage, things were hard. My mental health struggles didn't help our marriage issues. And so I was really desperate for something to change. And I think my husband was too. So when Abby reached out to me in about, I think it was like 2022, like I didn't know her at all. Like she said, it was a cold market call. I was desperate, and I asked my husband, I was like, hey, like, there's this gut health stuff. Can I give it a try? And he was like, I'm desperate too. Sure, go, try it. So over the first couple months, I noticed small changes. I was getting more energy, feeling a bit more calm. Then about 9 months in, with a combination of therapy and Plexus, I was able to come off all my medications, and I have been anxiety free and medication free for over 4 years now. And even though like that transformation has blown my mind, it took me about a year to really start sharing the products. Um, and when I did start sharing, I did have some early success, but things were slow for me. I doubted myself a lot. It wasn't until this past fall where things really started to shift, and I hit gold, then senior gold, and then the very next, which was the very next month, and now I hit ruby. But it was gold getaway where, and building a team where things completely changed for me. Plexus has pushed me into like personal growth in ways that I didn't realize I needed, and my career has exposed me to a lot of negativity over the years. And honestly, being surrounded by so much positivity has taken some time to get used to, but Plexus has brought so many people into my life who reminded me that there's still really good people out there. And this journey has given me confidence, a new purpose, and a new belief in myself that I didn't have before. And I'm really grateful to be here and to be able to share that with you all.
Oh, I love hearing your story so much. And some of those little pieces I don't think I even knew. So thank you for sharing that with us. I want to share a really powerful image with you guys because I think we have a lot of connotations that we see people with instant overnight success, and what we don't see is a true timeline. And oftentimes the struggle, the uneasy growth, the waiting season, the building seasons, we just see the result, right? The rank up graphic, the earned trip. And so I want you guys to look at this, and I'm hoping I can figure this out. Can you guys see this? Thumbs up if you see the graphic, the graph. Okay, perfect. So this is Sam's timeline. She actually joined in 2021. So she's been with me for 5 years now, but she did not share, like she said, for a year. So she started sharing in 2022 in the spring. And you guys can see the little hearts and the shapes represent her rank ups. So basically, she took about 3 months to go silver, and then another 3 months to go senior silver. And then, as you can see, from 2022 to 2025, she was like the little kitty roller coaster, right? So there's so many times where she got really close to gold and then she would dip down, and then she'd get close to gold and she would dip down. And then, before her big growth, she was almost down to silver points, guys. And then all of a sudden, she got some new business builders, two girls who wanted this as much as she did. And you can see what happened. She shot up from like 26 points to almost 200 points in a month. And then there's a little bit of dip as they're getting their systems down. And then they shot up back to back to gold, senior gold. There was a few month gap there. And then senior gold to ruby was November and December. So she went basically from like 26-ish points to over 600 points in about 4 to 5 months time, 3 to 4 months time. So I show this to you guys because I know that it is proof that your long-term success is not determined by your speed out of the gate. And also let this be a powerful reminder that we should never give up on people, right? Don't give up on yourself either. And also there's a benefit of helping your people to go grab one or two people that want this as much as they do, because that is a proof of what can happen. So, with that, let's move to Stephanie. Stephanie's story looks a little different, and what I love about our Freedom Team is no two stories are the same. So, she stepped into this season with bold action, a willingness to learn, a commitment to grow quickly, and in a short amount of time, she created great momentum, not just for herself, but for the people she's leading. So, Stephanie, go ahead and unmute and share a little bit about yourself and your journey.
Hi, everyone. I am Stephanie Streck, and 6 months ago, you couldn't have paid me to believe that I would be doing this right now. So the whole thing is wild. Um, I am a wife. My husband's name is also Craig, ironically. We've been married for 16 years. He is an electrician. He works nights to support our son, who is on a shortened school day schedule for now until we get it worked out. But for now, he is the sole provider of our son with a disability during the day. He works at night. I work during the day. We see each other very little. We have a daughter named Lila. She's 14. Our son, Cole, is 13. And I'm an educator. I was in the classroom for 12 years, and I've spent the last 5 as an instructional coach at the elementary level. A big turning point for our family was finding Jesus in 2018. It has been transformational. Almost all of our free time is spent either at Greenhouse, which is like our youth ministry. Craig and I host a small group at our home. I lead an online Bible study for moms of kids with disabilities who can't find respite and get out of their house. So our life outside of our careers has really been shaped by the Lord and his love for us, and us trying to understand how we were put on a journey that we don't feel equipped for. All that to say, probably like a lot of you, I have spent a majority of my life making sure every person in my life has been taken well care of and not really thinking much about myself. I'm young-ish, and so I can feel invincible and feel as if I don't need to think about myself. Until this past April, when I went in for a mammogram, which I was thinking I was 2 years early. I went in at 38, thinking that is a very responsible thing to do. Um, Honestly, the reason I went is because my insurance was going to give me $50 for getting a mammogram. Turns out they actually found some things at my mammogram at 38 years old, and it changed so much for me. There was a 6-week period of that space of like identifying it, but not having a diagnosis. And if you've ever been in waiting like that, it is wild the way time works, because you feel like you can't say anything, but also you want to say everything. And there's no plan, there's no clarity. Time feels like it just isn't moving. In the end, after a few surgeries, I got the good news that the cells were not cancerous, but precancerous, which had my risk close to 50% of having breast cancer, which is high at 38 years old. So I realized I needed to make some changes. I looked at my lifestyle. I knew things needed to shift. I was exhausted. I lived on mostly sugar and coffee all day long. I drank very little water. I pushed through because my kids needed me and my work needed me and everyone needed me, and I would make time for myself when I had time. But I realized that pushing through wasn't actually sustainable. So around that time, I knew that Samantha had talked about the products with me before. And all I kept thinking was, I have $15,000 in medical debt. The last thing I need right now are some supplements. I can't do it. There's no way. I'm just waiting for the bills to come in. Maybe if I would have just thought about this sooner, I would have done it, but shame on me. And so I shared that ish with her and Abby, and they had told me about the income side, which they had told me about in the past. And I thought, absolutely not. I am an educator. I do not have one more second for one more thing. But I also realized that if I wanted to make a change, it might be the only way. So I went into it saying, all right, how do I get my supplements paid for? And I listened to what they had to say and decided to try it. I was a little skeptical about the products and the business side of things, but within days, I noticed I had less inflammation. Like my ring was spinning around my finger, which was like a sure sign that things had been changing. Within weeks, my clothes fit differently, my energy changed. I started to get more time in my day because I wasn't needing to go to bed early and sleeping past my alarm. So I had truly more time to do things. I truly would fall asleep on the couch after school most nights and try to push through the exhaustion. And it just felt so good. I didn't even know that I wasn't getting quality sleep until I got quality sleep, which was so cool. Um, so that has truly, even just the sleep alone, has changed how I show up as a wife and a mom and a professional. In the middle of all of that, I ended up having to see an oncologist and I got put on some cancer prevention medication. And it was like 5 pages of side effects, all the things I should expect to happen. Essentially, I was going to go through menopause at 38. And then when I was done with the medication, I would do it again. And I am a firm believer that because of these Plexus products, all I had was a headache for 2 days. That was it. And all of the time I've been on this medication that was supposed to like have me bedridden at one point, that just, it was so cool that that the side effects didn't take over my life of this thing that could have, like, I feel like this cancer diagnosis 8 months ago or whatever, potential cancer diagnosis could have been like this huge thing. And instead it was a huge blessing. Like I would have probably never pursued this if I didn't realize that I mattered enough to pursue. So anyway, this whole experience has reshaped how I think about health and leadership and stewardship. And I learned that caring about myself isn't selfish. And I'm able to show up for other people and lead them and love them in a way that I want to be led and loved as well.
I love that. You do matter, absolutely. And she didn't really share how much tooth pulling it took to get her on the products and sharing, but we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little while. So, yeah, she came in hot. She's an achiever. She's a helper. You know, you put those two pieces together and you have fireworks. And so, what also helped her is she came in with a large amount of influence from years and years of making connections, running in different circles, adding value to people in person, online. So that has absolutely helped play a big role in her success and in going quickly. Um, but she joined at the end of June and then hit silver in July and then senior silver and gold in July. So she triple ranked in 1 month's time. And then things kind of settled a little bit. She worked on her mindset, her vision, and got some systems in place, and then started running again and hit senior gold in November, and then hit ruby the next month in December. So she also developed a fast start gold last month and two silvers. So congratulations on all your success. So proud of you. Okay, so now we're going to transition into some Q&A and bounce back and forth between these ladies. I really think you guys will benefit from hearing their fears, their limitations, what they've had to overcome, and the realness of building a business, and also some of their top tips that you guys can take away this month. So, Sam, you've stayed in this longer than most people would have. What kept you from quitting in the slow or discouraging season?
Well, one of the biggest reasons I stuck with it was because of you, Abby. You were always there. Like you stayed connected to me, even when in the seasons where I was slower or not very productive. You consistently showed up. You encouraged me. You spoke vision into me. You helped build belief when I didn't have much of that of my own. That mattered more to me than what you probably realize. I also didn't want to let my team down, knowing someone believed in me and what I could do, and then I had the ability to go and be the person for someone else gave me a reason to keep going, even when things felt slow. Plexus was also a bit of a safety net for our family. I knew that if we were ever really struggled financially, this was something I could lean more into. And honestly, I was never really discouraged because I knew my progress, or actually like lack thereof. It was largely a result of the choices that I was making. So I couldn't blame anyone else or anything else. And that ownership kept me grounded and kept me here.
How much wisdom. Yeah. So basically, what you put into this is what you can expect to get out of this, right? Well, I'm so glad that you stuck with it and excited to celebrate you hitting the 5th rank of Ruby. Congratulations. All right, Stephanie, you experienced a lot of success in a short amount of time. What do you think, what do you believe mattered most in helping you to reach Ruby?
Well, what didn't matter was the fact that I had zero sales experience. I think that I let that be something that was going to convince me that I couldn't do it. And turns out it wasn't necessary. So one thing that I think helped is I didn't walk into it scared. I posted about trying something new the day I ordered my box. And as I had said earlier, like getting these products paid for mattered to me. And the post was like, you guys, I'm trying something new. You know, I had this health scare. I need to change some things this summer. It's going to be about me. And I had 3 people who were interested in joining before my box even arrived, which 3 people paid for my subscription and more. Um, and all I asked was for accountability and support. And so it was so interesting how I thought I was going to have to sell all of this stuff. And actually, I was just inviting people into my story and we got to journey together, which was really cool. So when I first started, that was like, it was more about the products and how I wasn't waiting until I accomplished something. I was just bringing people along. I brought people along from the day that I found out that I may have cancer all the way through the final surgery. So I thought, well, might as well invite people along on this too. And I think that there also was a little bit of desire to hustle. As an educator, I have never had an opportunity to be in a pay for performance role before. You signed your contract and that was your salary, and however good you did, unless you were not great, that you got paid what you were told you get paid. And so there might have been a little bit of competition in me of like, okay, well, let's see what I can do. Let's see what I can achieve. So that was sort of the first month. And then I got my products paid for and I thought, okay, I've arrived. I've done it. And then I couldn't stay quiet about the small wins. I couldn't stay quiet about being awake at 10 p.m. I couldn't stay quiet about the fact that my ring was hardly staying on my finger and I had energy and I could remember things at the grocery store without bringing a note with me on what I needed. Like all of these things were things I wanted to share. And lo and behold, people wanted that same thing for themselves. So when I really got serious, like when I decided that maybe gold wasn't all I was going for, I showed up a little bit differently. I decided that the business could be something serious and I could say that out loud. And so I started to commit to coaching calls. I made those a priority. I plugged into all of the systems that were created, which are phenomenal. You know, you could get overwhelmed by them, but actually they're so extremely helpful. I started getting up for 30 for 30 in October. That was a huge change. I noticed the benefits of that sacrifice right away. Using the wisdom of people who have gone before me on this journey is just really good stewardship. It's such a good idea to take other people's advice and use it. I'm here to tell you it works. The things that you're told to do work, whether you do it scared or not. Another huge transformation for me was I learned how to use voice audio clips. So I could do customer care check-ins while I was also busy doing other things. And at first I thought, this is a convenience for me. I love this. But actually it stopped feeling so much like work and it really just felt relational. People started replying to me with voice clips. I just loved it so much. I also stopped trying to do all of the things that were suggested to me and thought about what things can I do really well right now? And then what things can I reach out and ask for help with? And that's the cool thing about this. I think I went into it thinking, once you sign up, you're on your own. You got to figure it out. And that's not true. There's a whole team of people who are there to help with literally every question you might have. So I guess my big things are I leaned into all the support that's available, which is like 1,000 people willing to help. I stayed as coachable as possible. Sometimes I wanted to get a little bit stubborn, but I tried hard to stay as coachable as possible. I asked as many questions as I could. I refused to isolate when things felt like they were hard. And then my biggest thing that I am working so hard at and I'm getting better at is I'm protecting specific time for my business and then I'm protecting specific time for my family because I don't want one of them to negatively impact the other in a way that it feels like I'm sacrificing something. So the time blocking for my family and my business has been really impactful. And it makes me feel like I'm making good progress in both areas instead of only doing each kind of well.
I love it. So good. Love all those top tips there for sure. Thanks for sharing. And yeah, hustle. I think she maybe said that at some point. Like this girl, both these girls are extremely hard workers. So they used a lot of their time and energy and committed that to their Plexus goals here. So, all right, Sam, back to you. What had you deciding to go all in on this business? And what fear or mindset did you have to work through?
Yeah, one of the biggest deciding factors for me wasn't pressure, but it was purpose. I realized there were two women trusting me with their goals, their growth, their courage to try something new, and I wanted to be the kind of leader who shows up for them, someone who was going to grow alongside of them and cheers for them throughout their seasons. And that responsibility didn't weigh me down, but it actually like started to pull the leader out of me. Gold Getaway was also a really major turning point for me, both personally and professionally. And honestly, like I'm still unpacking everything from that experience. I probably talk about it weekly with my husband still. And having systems explained in person was really helpful because I am definitely an in-person learner. But even more than that, being in the room with people from the top down who are just regular people with regular lives, regular problems, changed something in me. It didn't feel clicky to me or catty. It was real. I felt super comfortable. And it was like really comforting to realize that like we all struggle and we're all struggling with similar things in our business. So it felt really safe. Um, and I also finally acknowledged that and accepted that I did not have belief in myself. And that was actually a gift because then I could decide what I wanted to do about it. And it opened some really good conversations that were honest with my husband. And we were able to start talking, and he helped me start to shift how I was able to see myself and what was possible. And before Getaway, like I said, I had zero belief in myself, like none. That belief has grown
Right. Gotcha.
significantly.
Both of you. Oh, yes, I did.
Um,
All right.
and coming home, that belief has grown significantly, but I still have a lot to work on. The biggest mind shift was really realizing that I didn't need to have it all figured out in order to move forward. I just needed to be willing, like willing to learn, willing to grow, willing to believe, and sometimes before I fully felt confident in doing so.
I love how posed you were right there in that moment. Patiently waiting. I love that, Sam. Yeah, I know how much a game changer that retreat was for you guys. And all of you need to hear this. Get in the room for Plexus events because they will change your life. And Sam is evidence of that. So we had a lot of like emotionally charged, like in a good way, conversations at Gold Getaway. And it was really, really cool to see how much this impacted you. And you told me this is like the first type of trip you've ever taken like that before. And so I'm so proud of you for being courageous and showing up. And it's so cool to see how much that has changed your life. So, all right. So back to you, Stephanie. You were very skeptical at first about the opportunity. I actually remember I was trying to like page back in our notes or in our messenger, but I think you shared with me that you either had a 2 or 4% interest in the business. And I said, I'll play ball with that. So tell us more about what made you go all in.
Yeah, I think mine is probably similar to Samantha's. Like, just I didn't have belief in myself, so why would I want to like say that into the universe? Um, I was the girl who tried everything, right? Like, I dabbled in keto, and then I tried weightlifting, and then I tried HIIT workouts, and then I tried all the things and gave up on myself long before I even knew if I could find success. And I think I was worried about that happening again. I was worried when it came to the business side of things, like how much time would it take? What would I need to learn? I assumed that I would need to be an expert at everything. One of my biggest misconceptions was that I would make pennies until I had a team of, like 1,000 people. And then after the first month, I made $2,000 with less than 2 dozen people on a team. And I thought, well, that feels like a lot of money for, okay, Brittany, that distracted me. That was very funny. I I was just shocked that, I've heard like, oh, the company is really generous. And I guess I had to like truly experience that to see like that is extremely generous. And so it definitely motivated me to keep sharing. I also realized that sharing the products wasn't about convincing anyone to purchase anything. Actually, quite honest, the people that I have felt closest to convincing, I have kind of thought like, maybe we should wait a little bit. Like, I need you to want this as much as I want this for you. And so knowing that I could like serve people in a way, because right now we serve every night of the week on a spiritual lens, and like this idea of like I could actually help people in their health and wellness is a really neat way to bless other people that I didn't even know it was a skill that I had. I know you had mentioned earlier, I did already have a platform where I was telling my story about faith and my family and advocacy for kids with disabilities. And I realized like I didn't need to leave my health and healing out of my journey that I was already sharing on social media. So I had a moment with myself and said, if nothing changes, is that fine? Are you cool with the next 20, 30, 40 years looking just like this? And the answer was no, not how I physically felt, not where we were financially. And I realized that these products offered me an out in both of those ways. I gave myself permission to take this seriously. I told my family, like, I'm not going to do this halfway. I want to try this. I'm going to be honest with you about my time and where I'm spending it, but I really want your support in this. I cannot believe that I am pretty consistently earning a 4-figure income. I earned a 4-night, 5-day trip to Mexico with Craig. It feels like it's surreal. Like it doesn't feel at all like where I expected to be. And I know that it's only the beginning. Like the spark of possibility is igniting something so much bigger in me. And I think about the girl in April who had a 2% desire to do this and what could have happened if Abby didn't say, I can work with 2%. And I think sometimes even when I ask people on a scale from 1 to 5, like how interested you, the 1s and 2s, I'm like, okay, I'll check back. But like the blessing that I received by Abby pursuing me is substantial. Like it's not about what she got from showing me what was available. Like it has transformed my life. And I think sometimes we think about like, oh, we're seeking out all these people so that we can get the next rank. But like my life has been transformed in such an amazing way. And that wouldn't have happened if people didn't believe in me long before I believed in myself. So thank you, Abby and Samantha, for doing that for me.
Yeah, when you guys see potential in someone, like the potential I see in these two gals, you don't let them go. You don't let them go. So I can't wait for you guys to experience Mexico. It's going to be amazing and so many more special getaways to come. Speaking of income for a second, so Stephanie mentioned that she's now making a 4-figure monthly income. Both these gals are. I actually had Stephanie go and add up how much she's made in her 6 months here with Plexus, and it was about $12,000 from all the bonuses, the Christmas cash, the rank up bonuses, everything that Plexus has gifted us. 6 months, $12,000. You guys, that is real money. What could $12,000 do for somebody in your life? What about for yourself? What if you went and made $12,000 this year? How would that impact you? So that's really just the power of what we have at our fingertips. All right, Sam, back to you. How has income impacted you and your family so far?
Sorry if you hear my dogs barking. My husband's home with our son from church. So I'll try to hurry. I'll focus on the last couple of months because they've been the most impactful. The income helped me pay for Gold Getaway, which was huge for my personal growth and professional growth. It's covered our products, and it has allowed to pay off our credit card debt before Christmas, which was like a huge relief. And another really big piece is that coming the 12th of this month, I actually lose the ability to work overtime at my job. And that's something I've been consistently doing every month for at least 2 years now, maybe even a little bit more. And our commission check should be coming in right around that same time. And that timing does not feel accidental to me at all. It's just one way that God is showing up in my life and my business and reminding me that obedience and consistency matter even when you don't see the immediate results.
Oh my gosh, I love this story because it is so cool to see God weaving your story and leading your timeline behind the scenes of it all. There's been so many times in my business, you guys, where I would literally get an email that says, "You've been paid," which are the best emails to get. And the amount I received, I'm not even lying, was the exact amount of money that I needed to pay a bill or an unexpected expense that had popped up. One that's right in my head right now is we had to get a lot of vehicle work done, new tires, totally unexpected. The amount was the exact amount we needed to cover the tire costs. Like God knows what he's doing. These are not coincidences. And so I love how God is lining that up. Like, well, yep, you're gonna lose this pay, but you got your Plexus pay now. It is so cool. I love that. All right, Stephanie, let's talk about vision here. How has having a clear personal vision influenced the way you've shown up and made decisions in your business? And what is your vision?
Okay, well, I'll fast forward a little because you had talked about like I made a ton of growth in my first month, and then I had 2 months of not much, and then October I started building, and then November hit a rank, and December hit a rank, and I had no vision until October, other than I would love to get my products paid for. And so I met Abby with you and with Christina, and she had me do an activity called 7 Levels Deep. If you have not done that, Google it and try it out. It's an exercise where you say like what you want, and then you have to answer why every time for 7 times, or like what's holding you back, what are you afraid of, and then your whys. And it uncovered things for me that I did not know I was holding on to. Like I did not realize that I had fear of the way that I was raised, and I had a misunderstanding of my parents' financial situation. And then when I was an adult, I learned about it, and I like felt shame for the way that I asked for things as a kid. Like it was wild things. I had been in therapy for a lot of years, and that had never come up. Like I didn't even realize it was a fear of mine. So anyway, she challenged me through that exercise, and I once I got through that, and I realized like I don't have to be held down by these lies that I have created about how small I need to remain. I gave myself permission to think differently, and I actually looked at myself at 80 and thought, where do I want to be when I'm 80? Okay, so then where do I want to be at 60? Okay, then where do I need to be at 50? And I was like, all right, I'm a year away from 40, so where am I going to be then? And it was so neat to dream big. I think being in a position where I know my fate, I know when I can retire on our state retirement system, I know what retirement looks like for teachers. That was as big as it got for me. And so now to think like, yeah, next year I'll probably be driving a Lexus, and I'll be taking 2 vacations every year for free. And quite honestly, I'm probably going to have to quit teaching to make sure that I have enough vacation days to take the vacations that Plexus is going to provide me. Like all of these things don't feel like maybe it could happen. It's like, I got to be prepared to have enough days to be going on these trips, because I am not going to miss out on them because of my career, which is it's just so interesting to see how much has changed in 6 months. And I know I've said it 100 times, but the idea that I could have just missed it because I wasn't open or because I wasn't followed up with is, well, it's actually terrifying to know how close I was to missing out on something that, I mean, the products alone are worth showing up every single month, but the idea that there's community and women who are cheering for me, even when I'm not in the room. And like, there's just so many things that are so beautiful about this company that I would have missed if all I did was ordered supplements every month.
Love it. And I love seeing what happens when we actually take the time to connect with the life we truly want to live. And we take ownership of that. And then we show up and keep it at the forefront and we work for it to see what can happen. All right, moving right along. Sam, practically speaking, what are 2 to 3 things that you did this past month that directly contributed to your success with Ruby?
Yeah, one of the things that is like first on my mind is that my husband and I have been very intentional about tithing more consistently, and we've really felt God move in our finances and both our small businesses. and it has grown our faith to feel God and to see Him move and just being obedient to Him and putting Him first. Another game changer has been 30 for 30. So thank you, Christina. Before November, I was never a morning person, but now I actually look forward to having a set time to work my business. And it's funny too, my husband will be like the other New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, he's like, you haven't worked your 4:30 business yet. But yeah, those calls have brought so much direction and focus and clarity into what I'm doing. And I've also been making my way through the book Magic of Thinking Big. This is actually my second attempt going through it, but it's much easier this time around, and I can really see the difference in my mindset growing since I'm taking my time and really like diving in, and it's making a big difference.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is that you started making different decisions. You didn't suddenly gain more time, you just gained more intentionality. And you also started investing more in your mindset, and that's a huge shift. So, love it. Stephanie, let's chat mindset with you. What mindset hurdles did you have to overcome along the way, and how did you do it?
I would say that my biggest hurdle has probably been self-doubt, constantly questioning, like in the beginning, right? What are people going to think about me? What if what I have to share isn't valuable? What if I don't know enough? What if I don't have the right organizational system? What if I can't answer the questions? And honestly, those thoughts haven't all gone away yet, but I instead have decided to share them immediately with my upline. Like, okay, guys, I'm feeling like this is happening, and like, I feel like I don't want to take any action until I'm organized. And then you're able to step in with like, and they're such good questions. Like, what would it look like to be organized enough to move forward? And the answer is like, none. Like there is no, like none. I will never be organized enough. Or when will it feel like you know enough to do the next thing? And so that, Abby, has really helped to not get in my own way. I stopped aiming for perfection. That is hard for me. And I'm focusing on my progress. And honestly, sharing my progress along the way has allowed people to feel safe and brave to join me instead of feeling like, oh, when I get there, then I can join her. As a type 3, Enneagram type 3 with a 2 wing, rejection can feel a lot like failure. And it can feel like a reflection of who I am. And this business has allowed me to step out of the definition of that personality test. Like I'm actually more than just that. And honestly, the no responses from people have taught me so much about who God says I am instead of who I have let my worth fall into, like other people and how they respond to me. Or I'll walk into a meeting and be like, oh, she didn't look at me. I probably shouldn't sit by her. Like just weird things. And I have grown in confidence. It almost feels backwards. Like I thought, oh, putting myself out there is going to be so vulnerable. And now I feel like, okay, putting myself out there actually has given me the confidence to show up in rooms and know that I bring value for all kinds of things, not just health and wellness products or a financial opportunity for people. So by naming these feelings and these fears that I have and reframing them, I've grown so much. It's allowed me to respond to people, my family specifically, with grace. I'm able to handle rejection in a way that doesn't feel like I need to defend myself. I am able to lead people with love instead of being worried. I don't like a scarcity mindset anymore like I used to. And I realized that I just need to like choose my belief over my fear every day, over and over and over. And I'm always proud when I go to bed.
You might need to like read that over yourself when you're struggling, right? Because you just basically like coached and preached, and I love that. And I'm not an Enneagram 3 too, but I can 100% relate with what you just shared there. So thanks for your vulnerability. Okay, we got a few questions left. Sam, congrats on your new senior silver last month. We have a big focus, as you guys know, company-wide for this quarter and this month, especially on creating duplication, creating silvers, creating senior silvers. So what are your best top tips for women who are working to create more duplication this month?
Yes, my biggest tips are trust your upline. Don't be afraid to step out and ask questions and learn from others, and actually like use the resources available. to us. Like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to do it alone. Using the customer care guide and the trackers, the wellness page, invite people to the wellness calls, and just getting organizing and using the systems and the calls put in place is going to just help tremendously. And most importantly, don't give up. Recently, I was talking to a friend about a situation unrelated to Plexus, but it actually really applies here as well. So I was really unsure whether I should send a message to someone. And my friend told me, she goes, it takes 8 seconds of courage to send a message. So we can all handle 8 seconds. So send the message, reach out, follow up. That small moment of courage can completely change someone's life, including your own.
Oh, I love that. That is really encouraging. We need to remember that because you literally have done some things that have made you sweat in the last few months, right, Sam? Like speaking in your stories for the first time ever, and you did it scared, and it was great. All right, Stephanie, what are your top tips for creating silvers and senior silvers this month?
Well, I'm new at it. But I think coming from the lens of sharing the products, it was easier to send like, hey, we have this thing going on, check it out. And it was okay to have a message that felt very similar to multiple people. And I have learned that like when it comes to, I mean, like finances are personal. That's not always something that people are posting about. I mean, you're far more likely to post about what you made for dinner or your workout than you are how much you made, or the fact that you even need more money or would like more money. And so I have found out like showing up as the most human person I can is the most helpful way for people to see my heart behind what I'm trying to do. Forming real relationships, not copy and pasting a couple messages to try to, figure out like, instead of casting the net real wide and seeing who you can drag in, like actually thinking about, all right, who do I know would be someone that could feel like this business would bless them the way that it has me, and then share that in a personal message with them. So slowing down is not my natural instinct, especially when I'm so busy. Sometimes I can feel like I just need to be efficient, and efficiency looks like a lot of productivity. But sometimes the quality is far more effective than the quantity of people that you're talking to and building up. And so I've learned that meaningful conversations, listening well, loving people, it can't be rushed. It's not something that I can fill in a spreadsheet for and check it off that I message my people. So I am learning that real leaders are built through conversations and relationships. So I also learned that casting vision and understanding what's possible is important. I didn't know that when I first started, and it held me back. I was like, all right, yeah, I'll get a friend and make $30, fine. But I didn't understand where I could go with it. So I know how important that is. And then it's important to stay close. This can feel scary. Like you don't put a kid on a 2-wheel bike and send them on their way. You hold onto the back of the bike until they're ready to let go. And then you still run alongside the bike until you are confident that they can keep riding. So that's something else that I've had to learn and create a system around, is like how to stay close and release the bike when they're ready.
Be so much easier just to let them run off on the bike, right? But it's a process. So I love that analogy. All right, ladies, final question. So Sam, if you could go back and talk to your 2022 self when you were just starting to cautiously share, what would you tell her?
I would tell her to work on her belief immediately, especially the belief in herself. Early on, I had a strong belief in the products because I could personally feel the changes, and that part came really easy to me. But what I didn't believe was that I could actually move up in the company or that I had much to offer a team. I didn't see myself as a leader, and that limited me on how I was showing up. I would tell her now is that belief isn't something you wait for, it's something you build. You don't need to have it all figured out to be valuable. You grow into leadership by showing up, by learning, by willing to try before you feel ready. Since Gold Getaway, the belief has really started to shift in me. I'm really realizing that my story, my consistency, and my willingness to grow actually does matter. If I could go back and I'd remind her that she's more than capable than what she thinks, and the only thing standing in her way was believing it sooner.
Oh, I love that reflect, and I can't wait to see how much more things continue to shift as you continue to grow your belief in yourself. And yes, you are certainly rising up into leadership. So congratulations. And Stephanie, wrap this up for us. What would you say to the woman thinking, well, I love this, sounds great, but I'm not sure if I could do this?
Well, I would say I see you and I've been you. And when I stop and think about what it would have cost me 6 months ago to say no, um, it honestly breaks my heart for what my family would have missed out on, what I would have missed out on. I mean, I have like 500 more Facebook friends because of the women that I've met through this. Like that alone, like people cheering for me all the time in life and in wellness and all of it just feels so good. Um, I had no access to leadership training 6 months ago. If I wanted to be in a book club, I had to pay money for it. Like all of these things that are available to me now were not things that I had access to. I didn't even know all of the things that were going to be available to me before I said yes to this. And I don't know. I didn't realize I'd be invited to leadership events. I didn't realize I would get incentives. I didn't realize there would be recognition on the daily. I didn't realize that there were trips I would have never even pursued on my own. Like so many things would have ended before I even knew they existed. So letting fear decide would have taken every bit away from me. Fear of what might go wrong almost kept me from what has gone right the last 6 months. So this is what I would say. I would say you don't have to be confident. You don't have to be outgoing. You don't have to know everything. You actually hardly have to know anything. You just have to be willing to learn, willing to show up, willing to stay consistent, and willing to grow. I have learned that every woman that I admire on this team started before she felt ready. The difference is that she chose to grow instead of needing to feel certain. And if you're feeling a pull to be in the spot that I'm in and feel just as in awe as I am, that's not an accident. You don't have to see the whole staircase to know that you're brave enough to take the next step. So I believe that all of us can just walk together towards financial freedom and feeling our best selves in our health and our, I don't know, just our lifestyle with Plexus.
Amen. And mic drop to that. So thank you, ladies, so much for being willing to share your stories and your growth so openly with us. Guys, this is what leadership and teamwork looks like, right? Real women taking real scary steps, failing forward, celebrating wins, sharing lessons that we've learned so that we can be better together as a team. And so I just so thankful for these two and the example that you guys are setting for our team, and can't wait to see your continued success this year. If you guys leave with anything tonight, I hope you're leaving with a lot of things tonight. Actually, go ahead and put in the chat one of your major takeaways from tonight. But I hope you guys realize that you can do this. It doesn't require a certain personality, like Stephanie said, or a perfect set of strengths. It requires willingness. Willingness to take the scary step before you feel ready. Willingness to fail forward. Willingness to learn as you go. And on the hard days, guys, when self-doubt is loud and quitting feels easier, know why you're doing this and hold on to that. Nobody else can hold on to your vision for you. So keep your why at the forefront and know why you're showing up, even when your motivation fades, because it will. And here's my challenge to you all. Go find your Stephanie. Go find your Sam because they are out there. Find the person who's willing but maybe unsure. Invest in them. Breathe belief into them. Help them get wins. Walk alongside them. That person could be your next silver this month, senior silver this month. They could be the next gem on your team. How would that change things for you? Your belief, your mindset, your momentum, your paycheck. Guys, this is how momentum is built. This is how confidence grows. And this is something that every single one of us is capable of doing. So let's have an incredible January. And thank you guys for tuning in and hope you guys have a great rest of the night. Bye-bye.